Hello everyone, good to have you back, and today I'm reviewing a cigar that is another new cigar to me, but before I tell you about it, let me tell you who makes it. I am a huge fan of Don Pepin Garcia and all of his cigars. Um, he has had some amazing cigars over the years, and this is probably one of the first cigars he ever made. It is called the Las Imperialistas. Very cool idea. And I'll tell you a little background. This is the torpedo. As you can see, the band is a little different for him. The cigar is 6.5 by 52. The Los Imperialistas was the brainchild of Jesse Wills of Atlanta, Georgia. He contracted Garcia to make this cigar for him in 2003, which was way before, long before he was the hot commodity on the cigar market. These cigars were originally made in his Pepin's Miami factory. Now they're made in Esteli, Nicaragua. They come in 4 sizes: Robusto, Toro, Torpedo, and Churchill. And one of the cool things about this cigar, and I'm going to have to consult the online verbiage and read it to you, what the name of the cigar actually means. The Los Imperialistas, which means the imperialist, was inspired by a comically infamous billboard in Havana, Cuba, which depicts a Cuban soldier taunting a sweating, growling, and cowering Uncle Sam across the water, saying, "Mr. Imperialist, we have absolutely no fear of you." So again, let's look at that band and notice that it looks a lot like, let me get back to my screen, it looks a lot like the American Eagle. Alright, so anyway, the cigar is, wrapper is Cuban seed Nicaraguan, binder Nicaraguan, and the filler is Nicaraguan. Pretty excited to smoke this cigar, so let's get right to it. As with every cigar, we first must clip it. Now, on a torpedo like this, I like to go at an angle and take off just as little as I can. The reason I go at an angle, like that, test roll is a tad firm, but not bad. But the reason I go at an angle is it gives you more area. If you go straight, it's not going to give you quite as much. So anyway, okay, that will definitely work. That is just a cool band. I'm going to show it to you again. I wonder how close I can get where it doesn't. It gets a little fuzzy. Here we go. Excited about trying this. This cigar was picked up locally, by the way, you Colombia natives. This cigar was picked up at a little shop in Columbia called the Cigar Box. It's on Rosewood Drive in Columbia, South Carolina. They had 3 sizes when I was there. I picked up all 3, the Churchill, Torpedo, and Robusto. They did not have the Toro. They were out. There's going to be a lot of spice in that cigar, I can tell. There's already hints of citrus. the light up. It's usually deceptive to a degree, leather. So we'll let it rest for a minute and come back and check it out, see how the progress is going. Okay, we're about 3/4 of an inch in. At this point, your primary flavors are subtle coffee notes, cinnamon, with a little mix of citrus. I can't really pinpoint if it's orange or grapefruit at this point. There's some almond notes, raw almond notes, a little vanilla, and what appears to be even some tea notes. The finish is a little easier to pin down. It's more of a vanilla, straight vanilla, not overly sweet, and there's nice pepper on both ends. The pepper at this point is not lingering overly on the finish, but it is noticeable. So that's about it for now. The ash is quite tight because at 1 inch showing, it's showing no signs of breaking. But a good cigar so far. Not your typical Pepin cigar. Let's try one more draw. Sort of an orange citrus with a cinnamon mix. Those are your primary flavors. There is some black coffee notes also. So we'll be back as soon as something changes and with an update. Alright, about close to the midpoint. To me, the flavors have somewhat narrowed down again or changed again. Coffee, orange citrus, and almond. Those are your primary flavors. There is some subtle vanilla. The cinnamon, not really there at this point. But if you mix orange citrus and almond, that's about what you have, and coffee. That's about what you have there. And the pepper is very subtle for a Pepin cigar. It is there. It's black pepper, but it's not over the top. Finish is still pretty much vanilla, and little hints of almond there, and some subtle black pepper there also lingering. So thought it was significant enough to come back and tell you that. Look at the burn. It's just about laser perfect. So I will be back a little later when something else changes with an update. Okay, at the midpoint now, and vanilla has appeared. Um, the black coffee, the orange citrus, uh, the uh, almond, and now vanilla. Vanilla is definitely noticeable. So the cigar is really making a lot of changes. I would call this a rather complex cigar. It has so many things going on that it's hard to pinpoint one thing. That's why I'm having to come back, and I think that's important with a good review. Tell you these changes. So I'll be back again at the next change, but at this point, vanilla has appeared. Alright, as you can see, I've had to remove the band, and not much further than the midpoint. The vanilla that I mentioned before that made an appearance is now very rich. So again, the cigar has changed. One quick puff and I'll give you an update on the flavors. Coffee, orange, citrus, and rich vanilla with a little more pepper now. So again, a big change, and a change for the better. The cigar is indeed quite complex. I mentioned the intricate, different, unusual band, and I want to show that to you now. That that is one of the more ornate, different bands for Pepin. And as I said, this is one of the first cigars he made. So it is indeed quite a unique, complex cigar for Pepin. And as it keeps changing, I'll keep coming back. Okay, here in the final stages, I want to wrap this cigar up and give you my thoughts. First and foremost, very complex. It has made more changes than I can keep up with. You'll have to replay this video to see all the changes. The cigar stayed fairly consistent from the last time I met you to now. Coffee, orange citrus, and rich vanilla. The finish has remained one of vanilla. The pepper is good on both ends and does tend to linger somewhat on the finish. The cigar is medium to full. Not quite full bodied, but definitely a little more than medium, so I'm calling it medium to full. And this is an interesting cigar from Don Pepin Garcia, not your typical Pepin cigar. So if you expect the heavy citrus notes in most of his cigars, you won't find that in this cigar, but I think you will like it. All in all, I am rating the cigar a 92. It is very enjoyable, quite complex, and I believe you would like it. So there you have it, the Don Pepin Garcia Las Imperialistas, a 92.